here. So I just tell the people that's African, hey, the Africans is claiming they shit back over there. We claiming our shit back over here. Why don't y'all go assist them in claiming they shit back, and you won't be begging for reparations? Because it's not going to happen, because once you get your shit back, the people who had your shit can't pay you reparations unless they get it out of your coffers.
What you mean unless they get it out of your coffers? What's that? What do you mean?
They owe us everything because everything was already ours. They hijacked what was ours and used it against us.
Okay.
They took all of the stuff that was taught to them and used it against us, and we forgot we taught it to them.
All right, I got one more question, Rod. I know that was supposed to be the last one, but I forgot. You said you don't always do this.
I'm with you, brother Rich. We just topping it up. You help. Look at your hat. You help. We help.
Hey, what this means to you, Rod? This, because I remember you talking about.
I just told you. I mean, you help. We help. That means if you start off on your project, we gonna help you along.
Excellent.
We gonna do what we can to support you because you doing what you can to inform us.
Oh yeah. And shout out, by the way, shout out to everybody who joined the Patreon or was on the Patreon. Rod did an amazing lecture on Patreon about the whole this Kendrick Lamar Drake situation, and
among other things that you can't talk about on YouTube.
Among many other things that you can't talk about on YouTube. So it was a heavily a conversation that would just get taken down. So we had to put that one especially on Patreon. So if you're interested in that conversation, head on over to Patreon. Black Magic 363 is spelled the same way as this channel. It's called They Not Like Us. You know, the same name as Kendrick's song, They Not Like Us. So you could check that out over on Patreon. Amazing conversation I had. But I gotta end tonight's conversation. I gotta ask you this, Rod, because you sent me a clip and the shit was wild. They was talking about these beings, pre-Adamite beings, took the moon, I guess wrapped it up and flung the shit toward the earth. All types of wild shit. Then they was talking about beings living on the moon, on the base of the moon, using it as a ship to observe Earth. What the hell was they talking about? And I know I'm not even explaining it as proper as it was. I forgot. I just remembered it right now. But what the hell was they talking about? Who took the moon, and was this some shit ENLIL did where he took the moon and flung it toward Earth and then decided to live on the moon? What the hell was that you sent me, Rod? What was they talking about?
Remember, I keep telling you the moon wasn't always there.
Yes. And you also talk about Lilith moon, the original moon.
Right.
Yeah.
So they put an artificial moon up there, and it's a battleship.
It's a battleship.
Remember, we went over that.
Yes.
And the moon will take off and leave if shit get thick, and it's required. Its service is required. But in the meantime, it's tied to the Dark Knight satellite to protect a hologram through the Van Allen belt. You can suppress the energy easier remotely than you can if you try to do it while you in it.
So without the moon and without the Dark Knight satellite, this matrix wouldn't exist. This hologram wouldn't exist. Is that what you're saying?
This the 3D override. The 3D will still be here. But what would happen is all of the things that they've used to suppress the inner divinity of the people of the planet would not work on them anymore. That's all. And they would be able to have different abilities, and then they'll remember not only that they have them, but how to use them. But you had to keep the God beings subjugated using science and spiritual science merged.
You ever I don't know if I asked you this before. You ever do, people talk about sun gazing. So you never do moon magic, Rod? You never tap into the energy of the moon?
Yeah. The sisters learned how to use the moon for moon magic in modern yoni magic because
Mm.
they realized what it was for. They started learning how to harness it and to use it as the silver key, which is oracle reading. So they're able to use the light of the moon and transmute that energy into information streams that they can pick up as an intuitive download.
Right, right.
That's what the Salem witch hunts was about. When they caught Big Mama teaching the settlers' daughters yoni magic, some of them had got into a euphoria and went into a dancing frenzy, and it became contagious because once the mitochondrial is turned up to its highest capacity, anybody that have residue of mitochondria in them will be activated. And if you didn't do your work, you're going to be negatively activated.
With so much of the population focused on the moon, if there are beings on the moon, do you think we can affect their well-being by moon gazing? Like, do they ever be like, how like sometime when the sun's shining us, we like, oh shit, people put on sun, or Europeans put on suntan and lotion. Like, if we focus our sun energy on the moon, do beings on the moon be like, oh shit, I gotta cover myself. These niggas is moon gazing. Some wild shit like that.
No, because the moon is projecting on a higher frequency
Uh,
than you can project back at it.
mm, mm.
And the
Interesting.
highest frequency always trumps the lower frequencies. That's the design of the lunar rays.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh yeah.
women can transmute the energy, and the men can learn to use it if they learn how to use their intuition. Because if that energy, they had to have some positive to go along with the negative in order for the balancing act to take place that they call the orbiting of the earth.
Right.
It got to be in perfect balance. This is
Right.
the pulling on the tides.
Right. Man. Family, tell me this ain't some interesting shit here, y'all. Wow. All right. Last question, Rod. I swear this is the last one. What was your thoughts? What did when all right, we in so-called 2024 now. When 2012 came around, how did you look at that? How did you interpret this whole 2012? And because you started out the year in the golden age talking about that, how did you interpret this, all the 2012 talk when it was going down, Rod?
They was discussing the Mayan calendar as the cause because it ended in 2012, right? The irony of it is the 1776 calendar of the blood of Crispus Attucks expired June, July the 4th, 1976. The problem was the War 1812 gave them an extension into the year 2012 because the tribes took the Dirty Moors back to bloody war, and they wasn't supposed to do that. We were supposed to educate ourselves out of the condition. So the dates was telling me that the contract can be um, refused after the Mayan calendar goes back to its next cycle, which is the next time it come to an end. We'll be having a different conversation about something different then, Brother Rich, but it'll look similar to what we're doing now.
Right, right. Somebody just reminded me, somebody in the chat, because they brought up Terrence Howard, and I forgot to ask you. One of the things Terrence Howard, not only on Joe Rogan, but one of his main talking points is him talking about nature's curves and how there's no straight lines. Now, I was taught, and a lot of us was taught about the platonic sonic solids, and those are the building blocks of life. What's your thoughts on him saying all that's bullshit? They didn't take into consideration ether and other elements, and that there's no such thing as straight lines, the platonic solids, whatever. Everything is curvature. What's your thoughts on him talking about that?
That's correct. That's what they say in the nation. That's all wise, right, and exact.
Yeah.
right? The science is that, okay. If you look at the platonic solids, this is impressions in the two-dimensional description. But if you can turn it into a 3D image, it won't be the same.
Mm.
This is when they call it, when you can do it in your brain, they call it activating your holographic memory. That's
Right.
what Nikola Tesla did. So you examine it not from the two-dimensional, which is on the paper, or the one-dimensional. Um, you now can examine it in 3D. Once you see it in 3D, it'll activate a frequency in the brain. All of those symbols do that, but even like the Holy Sephira, we look at it as a flat tree. But when you look at it as a three-dimensional projection, you begin to download more data in your understanding of how it works, and it'll carry a frequency that activates certain energies in your chromosomes.
Mm. 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 Indeed. Yeah, man. Listen, man, I would love to have a talk. Everybody keeps telling me to get Terrence Howard on the show. I would love to have a brother. I talked about it in January, having a brother on the show. So I'm, if anybody knows the brother, I would absolutely love to have the brother on the show and kick it with the brother. Have him and Rod on the show. So yeah, if anybody knows Terrence, man, I would love to have a conversation and talk to the brother. You know, definitely, definitely. Oh man, Rod, man, this man, shit, man, this some powerful shit here, man. This some powerful. You know, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. What do you think about? Because you talk a lot about the divine feminine energy, and sometimes we, let me just use it as an example. Sometimes when we see things happening, we think it's a conspiracy theory, and it may be universal synchronicity. So, say you say a certain word, and as you say a certain word, the time on time on the clock says 11:11. Some people will be like, "Oh shit, he said that 11:11. Rod is a Mason. He's trying to do this," and it has nothing to do with that. You was just in perfect alignment with nature, and you happen to say a certain thing at a certain time, and it just aligned perfectly. It was like synchronistic or whatever. There's also something where we think a lot of things, what we say, everything is a distraction. This is a distraction. This is a distraction. I'm wondering, say the same way we get it wrong sometime with everything being a conspiracy. Are we wrong sometimes when we call everything a distraction? And when what I'm talking about is this situation with Diddy and Cassie, and the majority of the world viewing him kicking, stomping, throwing Cassie on the floor, on the floor. And a lot of people was disgusted by that. Do you think that was a distraction, or do you think that has a higher purpose to it for that to be displayed to the entire world?
Listen, all things must be exposed in the coming of the new age. The age of Aquarius is the age when all of the dirty secrets that they had is going to be exposed.
Uh-huh.
Um, as far as it being a distraction, if it's a celebrity name on it, it's a script and it's part of a distraction that's put in our face.
Mm-hmm.
As to the same with the politicians, is a distraction. It's a false narrative, and now they're using special effects and CGI in order to tell false narratives to occupy the mind of the people. Well,
Right.
you got to look at the motive. It's always in the courts when they talking about who committed the crime. They looking for means, motive, and opportunity. Right? That's MMO. That's mom in the
Mm-hmm.
anagram flip.
Mm-hmm.
So the data comes in as a piece of information that ties to other information you already have. When the connection is made, you see the alignments, right? And that don't mean that don't make you part of any of the brotherhoods. It just make you know how to read the same thing that they using in order to keep the people blind to what they doing in their face behind their back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Indeed. Man. All right. Well, with that being said, man, I want listen, Rod, man. I want to thank you once again for coming on the platform, man. I want everybody to make sure you're going to support the brother Rod Hayes. Let me, the brother. What's your Instagram? Because I know you're on Instagram and
My
Facebook.
Instagram is the SikApe, TheSikape,
And
to
yeah,
help everyone. Soldiers and Illuminati are present everywhere.
oh, that's what
This
that
is
stands
what
for.
it sounds like when we ride on our enemies. Mhm, mhm.
On your Tupac shit. You on your Amaru shit. You on your Amaru
Yeah,
shit.
that's
Uh,
that the Negus energy.
that's what that
Look,
is.
the Tupac Amaru, the
Uh-huh.
monkey watched the serpent.
Mm,
Monkey see snake. Monkey don't never forget where snake be.
mm-hmm.
Right? Snake be in the bushes. Monkey know where snake at because he seen the snake.
Mm,
The symbolism is the snake is the serpent wisdom.
mm-hmm.
The Legba is doing a war dance to inform the Ogun what has to be done if you want to correct the problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So the whole science is playing out in the public domain in everybody's face of the redemption process to recover everything back that belonged to the earthborn,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they don't know what they're looking at. So to them, they're just being entertained. But the rest of us that know that something is being said because something got our attention,
Mm-hmm.
right? When certain stuff get our attention in a certain way, it tells us to keep following that information that's going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But the regular person is being entertained, but you following code flips.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is how a person can say, I guarantee you I sparked the brain to change the world. Because
Mm-hmm.
all I gotta do is put in my work, right? Expose the boy king to what it seems like perilous danger, and you're gonna make the great defender rise up to his aid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Played out in the movie Black Panther when T'Challa fell over into the water
Mm-hmm.
and Mbike picked him up. He
Mm-hmm.
got him in there with him. The whole time they thinking he dead,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And then when do they find out? His mama and his sister come looking for aid and assistance from the king of the gorillas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They trying to save the family from the tyranny of the one from the culture that don't understand the culture that's going to end up ruining everything,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So it play out in Hollywood so they can say, see, I told them, but they thought it was a joke,
Right, right, right. Damn.
right? And then it's the same with reading news broadcasts as well.
Yeah.
The channel that you get the story from is the code. In Detroit, anything come on Eyewitness 7, I can flip codes out of if I turn on that channel.
Shit. Damn.
I avoid TV at all costs.
Yo, you do. You avoid, yeah, yeah. You don't mess with the TV, huh?
The only thing I watch is wrestling because I get flips out of it because I got a passion for it, so I can read the energy in order to tell me what's going on in real life.
Damn. From wrestling.
Yeah, I can talk through the flips, right? Like I might get a code to say a backflip, right? In wrestling, it's a hip toss,
Mm.
right? Or a
Mm.
suplex,
Mm.
right? So when I use that, I can tie it into the flip code to see who flipped the code that I'm catching, where they flip it from, and what is the code telling me.
That's some hell of a code breaking there, Rod.
Yeah. It's everything is wired with a signature from nature, no matter how much man try to take nature out of his production. As long as it's produced by man, it's going to be infused with an energy signature derived from nature.
Right.
So if the oracle reader can read the oracle, he can see no matter what they do, the nature's energy attached to the function that the man put out.
Mm.
Whatever he did, whether he built a building or whether he built a dam or whether he blew some shit up, it's going to leave an energy signature.
Mm-hmm.
You don't look to the past to to relive it. You look to it to avoid what you didn't like. Otherwise, there was no purpose of looking back. You got to see what you look back and say, okay, I tried that, it didn't work, throw that away. I tried this, it worked real well, put this at the top of the list. Until you evaluated history where you can read the energy that tells you a message, just strips off all of the entropy that gets you right back to where the message came from in order to solve the problem. All right. Now you're talking about Donald J, and you referencing his son, and you just said the guy in the movie got a twin. Right? You know, Donald J is a Gemini, right?
Go ahead. Damn, I know that.
Gemini, look him up. Look up, pull another tab up and put in his birthday. Make sure you're Gemini before I go any further.
Yeah, I got you. Oh yeah, this shit gonna be good. This gonna get good.